You open the Walmart app and boom! The Reebok and Hanes styles that keep your kiddos on their A game delivered in as fast as an hour. That's right, those comfy Hanes Performance Crew socks they love in the app. And the coolest shirts, shorts, hoodies, and leggings from Reebok? Yep, Walmart's got them. They'll feel so focused in their new gear they won't even notice you freaking out on the sidelines. Shop Reebok and Hanes in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new. Subject to availability, fees, and restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast, Kevin and Chuck. Today, well, we're going to talk about food storage and the top 10 foods that you'd want to store. Now, there's a lot of lists of, these are great for, food storage. You see all this stuff, but I wanted to take into calorie and nutrition density. I wanted to take in, the cost per pound, and I wanted to talk about the shelf life, right? So something that's actually going to meet all the kind of prepper criteria of what you're really after. Because it turns out you don't have to spend 10 grand on one of those long-term food storage things, although they are easy. And if you want easy, just throwing money is like,
you can buy a pre-made bug out bag. You can buy everything pre-made if you want. Money is no object.
Sometimes it can be good quality stuff too. It doesn't even have to be junky. But anyway, there's ways you can do it on a budget, and that you can, just go to the store and check that kind of thing out. So anyway, that's what we got. And first, let's kind of dig into why would we need to store food, Kevin? Isn't that something only crazy people do?
Yeah. Because I get my food from the grocery store, and it's always got food there. Every time I go there, they've got food at the grocery store. So that's where I get my food. But there is like a limited amount of food at the grocery store, right? There's, what do they say, about 3 days worth of food at the grocery store? On-time
delivery, yep.
I mean, yeah, because you don't want to be delivering food that's, going to be sitting in the back going bad. It's got to be showing up regularly. Yeah, nobody wants to buy rotten fruit and vegetables at the grocery store. And, most people pick through the fruit, right? Oh, that's a little brown spot. And, we're really picky as Americans about, bright red tomatoes and everything, no soft spots. And eating around that. I ain't eating around that spot, but
nope, there's a spot on it. And then try growing like apples in your yard without putting a ton of pesticides on it. Turns out they have spots and stuff on those apples.
Yeah.
Like they're never.
Yep.
My kid always had like a deathly fear of biting into an apple and finding like half a worm. Like he was sure that was going to happen like any time, I think that was in a cartoon once, but he was sure that, Dakota, he was like, yeah, that's going to happen. And that's how that goes. But anyway, so there's all kinds of things that could disrupt the food chain. People going on strike, obviously something horrible and traumatic like an EMP, whatever, but even disasters. In North Carolina, we had Hurricane Helene, took out a lot of roads. And if you were in Western North Carolina or Eastern Tennessee, you lost your grocery store and access to your grocery store. Now, sometimes people had other issues that, their house and stuff were damaged where you couldn't get to your supplies. Maybe that's why we've talked about redundancy and how to do things and whatever. But there are definitely events that could come up that could disrupt your food supply. So what are the cool foods that you should be storing? I mean, that's really, really the heart of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we could kind of put it into categories too, but what's the first thing that comes to mind as a prepper when you think, oh, I'm going to buy some bulk food storage? I'm going to go to Sam's Club. What am I going to get? What's number one on your list, Kevin?
Yeah. Well, I mean, one is there's a whole bunch of stray cats in my neighborhood. I don't know where they come from. They're everywhere. So that's number one. No, my number one on the list would be rice. That's the standard, right? Always, buy a big bag of rice. Everybody knows that. Line. Yeah.
Cheap. You buy a 25-pound bag of rice or a 50-pound bag of rice, 25-pound, or I think I buy like 12-pound bags, but I can put them in a 5-gallon bucket. So I can do like 2 or 3 in one bucket.
Right. And you can seal it up.
They say not to get brown rice. Can't do brown rice for storage.
Right. Right.
Because it has fat on it, kind of thing, like a little.
Yeah. Brown rice is a little bit healthier for you, but it's not for long-term storage. Right. Right. Now, a lot of people hate rice. I knew a guy from India. He lived in, northern India in Nagaland. Okay. His name was Chuba Ao. Do you remember Chuba Ao?
I do.
Chuba lived in India, and he told me that they ate rice for every meal. Except for Sundays, they would put some vegetables in there.
Smart.
So you get fancy on the Sunday, they have a little bit of vegetables. Now, the thing about rice, though, it's short on vitamin C, and it's short on calcium. So it's a great food. Very inexpensive. You can live off of rice for a long time, but eventually you're going to start running into problems if that's all you're
nutrition.
Eating. You got to mix it up.
That's where your thing of multivitamins come in handy.
Mm-hmm.
You keep that year's supply of multivitamins you're in. But that's the thing. So I think with all this, right, we're going to go through all these items. But one, you want to pick things that your family's willing to eat, right? Things that are suitable to your family and your lifestyle. But then you also need to think about a little bit of variety, right? You need to have a couple of things, some heavy protein stuff, some belly filler stuff for quantity. See, that's what I always think of with rice is you can keep bellies full, right? Or you can stretch everything. So maybe everybody only gets a squirrel worth of meat or even a half a squirrel, But if you have like some bouillon cubes or something, or, some kind of way to season it, and you have some rice, all of a sudden you got a full belly out of an ounce of meat or 2 ounces of meat. That's where you kind of win on that. But like you said, vegetables are a big thing, but we're going to talk about that. Hopefully you're growing some of your own vegetables also. All right. So let's move on to item number 2. I like dried beans. So this will be lentils, pinto beans, black beans. What else would you fall into dried beans?
Dried beans, peas. Peas are a good one.
All right. And
I don't like peas myself.
Right.
Honestly, but
Right. Now, rice, I think usually is like 50 cents to $1 a pound. Dry beans, you're in the $1 to $1.50 a pound. You get about 350 calories per 100 grams, whereas rice is like 675 calories per 100 grams. So that's kind of a little, but again, you're all of a sudden getting protein right out of the beans. Right. And, and you are getting a little bit of vitamins and stuff like that on there, a little more balanced nutrition. Yeah.
And dried beans, if you're, keep them sealed up, they're going to last a long time. Now, let's talk real quick about storage for these types of foods. We should just say all these foods, it goes without saying, store in a cool, dry place, clean. You want it clean when you put it in there, away from heat, away from sunlight and humidity. You want it in an airtight container. Those little oxidizer packs, those little absorb humidity absorbent, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Those are great to throw in there.
Silicone. I think
there you go.
The gel packs. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's a big thing. So I have a food freezer saver kind of thing. The wife got at Sam's Club or whatever that, zips them all like airtight, sucks it all out. One, it makes the meat, not where you're getting that freezer burn and stuff like that. If your temperature isn't 100% in your fridge or freezer. And so I shrink it all down in that, and then I throw it in 5-gallon buckets. Another great one is people always talk about Mylar bags. Mylar bags are cool because they end up having basically like a foil or metal liner inside that makes it that mice and stuff aren't chewing through it. And that's where, you kind of win. Because again, that's why I go to the 5-gallon bucket. Obviously we've seen, squirrels chew through garbage cans, things like that.
Yep.
That's always a possibility, but a lot less likely than if I just set a bag of rice, in on the floor in my shop next door or whatever, So that's something to think about. But again, any kind of vacuum sealing, Mylar bags and vacuum sealing are going to extend the shelf life. You're going to take things like your dried beans from 1 to 2, 1 to 3 years. When you take that air out and protect it, I would think of like the vacuum sealed bags taking you to kind of 15 to 20 year in my mind. And then the Mylar bags are taking you to that 25, 30, because they're also blocking out light and anything like that. Again, it's cool, dry place, like Kevin said, is going to make a big difference.
Right. How you store it is going to make a big difference. And we're going to give you a couple of time ranges here for some of this food.
All right.
And the way you store it makes a big difference in how long that food is going to last.
That's why when I tell you rolled oats will last 2 to 30 years.
Right.
That's a big window, right? Breakfast friendly, 380 calories.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oatmeal is a great way, a great food that you can store long term, and it's going to be packed full of stuff. Now you're going to see oatmeal is one of these things. Dried beans, they're all a little bit low on vitamin C. So, we're going to talk about canned vegetables and fruits in a little bit, but vitamin C is that's how you get scurvy. Being short on vitamin C, you got to get your veggies, man.
It's a sailor in you coming out, Kevin. That's what we're seeing here.
Yeah. Interesting thing about scurvy though is first your gums start receding and drying up and your teeth fall out and your bones start deteriorating. It's real nasty. But as soon as you get vitamin C, it's like that, man. It's just right back to normal. So keep your vitamins, keep a good stock of vitamins in your cabinet.
Nice. See if you can plant that citrus tree in the yard, see what you can do. All right. So next, I would say, my next favorite one, I'm going to go with peanut butter. 2 to 5 year shelf life if you just leave it in the container that it comes in. You can also put the container in a Ziploc bag kind of thing and like that. One of the things I learned from my buddy Darren over at Mayhem Country Living is he talked about if you throw your bag of rice in the freezer and freeze it for 2 or 3 days and then store it. Now, if I have room in my freezer, I just leave the bags of rice right in the freezer. But just putting it in for a couple of days and then storing it kind of kills anything moving in there. I know you're saying, well, freezing, does it kill it? But it does. It works out.
Yeah, it kills the stuff that lives in rice and flour.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
pasta is the same way. 48 hours in the freezer, and then you're good to go.
And that'll really help. So anyway, moving along, peanut butter, 2 to 5 years. Obviously taste. We all love peanut butter, a lot of protein, 590 calories per 100 gram, fat and protein, which you're not getting out of a lot of this stuff. So $2 to $3 a pound. So a little on the more expensive, but obviously quality calories that are really going to make a difference. And who doesn't really like a peanut butter sandwich? I mean, really.
Mhm.
And you can just sit down with a jar of peanut butter and just, yeah. I mean, that's why the peanut butter cups, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I have a friend that puts peanut butter on a hot dog. Have you ever heard of this?
I've never heard of this, Kevin. I'm a little concerned for your friend.
He made me try it, and it was kind of gross. It tasted like peanut butter on a hot dog. Kind of what you expected.
Now, I got another one. I got to say, honey. Honey lasts forever. You know, they talk about finding it in the tombs in Egypt and stuff, and it's still good, right? Superfood. High nutritional value, 300 calories per 100 grams. Quick sugars for your body. Definitely healthier.
And it'll last forever, basically. It's just, it might crystallize. Sometimes it does that where it kind of dries up.
Kind of warm it up, and you can, $3 to $5 a pound. So it is a little bit more expensive. Make sure you're actually buying honey and not like corn syrup made out to be honey or weird things they try and sell these days. It's kind of crazy. So I don't know. Kevin, next one on your list.
Good luck finding real maple syrup, right?
Yeah.
Next one on the list. Let's talk about flour and cornmeal. Now these things can be tricky. You know what I mean? Your flour can go bad if you don't store it properly. Cornmeal can go bad if you don't store it properly. But it's a great versatile thing. You know what I mean? You can make all sorts of stuff with flour.
Yeah, you can make bread out of the cornmeal, same thing. We've all had cornbread, that kind of thing. Flour, obviously. That familiarity of like baked loaves kind of thing. Super easy to make, but it is bulky to store. So you do need a quality bake. I mean, you're like, oh, I have 50 pounds of flour. Well, you will burn through it. I mean, it's not going to last you years, but.
Right. But if you store it in an airtight container with oxygen absorbers, it can and freeze it for 48 hours to get rid of those little weevils that sometimes live in there.
Yep.
It can last up to 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
It can last a long time, but it has to be stored properly. You can't just get it in the bag at the grocery store and stick it on your shelf and expect it's going to be good, 2 years from now when you go to open it up. You have to really, do a good job cleaning it up, sealing it up, and making sure it's in a good, safe, clean location.
Absolutely. Now, another one that I would go with is peanuts and nuts of pretty much all varieties, right? Any kind of bulk nuts you buy. One, they're super calorie dense.
Right.
They weigh in like 570 calories per 100 gram. Again, fat and protein, which is awesome. Really, I mean, you have the mix of nuts or beans and rice, and you're getting together with a pretty solid foundation. But yeah, $2 to $3 a pound. Proper storage, you're still only like 1 to 2 years. Nuts are not a forever thing. But again, I mean, and you could also look into like a freeze dryer, and then a lot of these things that we're saying aren't forever could maybe be, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to me, I'm a little bit reckless with my expiration dates. You know what I mean? My wife is the opposite. She'll be like, "What are you doing? That chicken's been in the refrigerator for 3 days. You can't eat that now." I'll be eating that 2 weeks from now still, and still all right. I mean, I'm gross. I don't know, but I'm a little bit reckless with my expiration dates. But when it comes to long-term storage, you can't just throw cooked food in the refrigerator and expect it to last forever. It's not going to be the case.
Right.
But let's talk about how are we going to get our meats? How are we going to store up some meats long-term, right?
There's only so many squirrels to shoot, right?
Yeah, that's right. Potted meat. That's what all the poor folks eat. They know it. They love it. I'm right up that alley, Canned chicken.
Yep.
Sardines.
Yeah. I used to be afraid of it. And then I started, as a prepper, I'd buy those cans of canned chicken and I would save them. And then as they were getting towards the end of their shelf life, I'd try and work it into the rotation at home of, we're making a pasta or something. We could just throw some chicken on it or a salad or whatever. And I got to say, everybody kind of acquired a taste for it and is like good with it. They're, especially if you work some kind of sauce or whatever, people are pretty happy.
Yeah, I like to make it, like to use it for like chicken salad and stuff like that, make a little sandwich out of it. You can gussy it up in ways that's not too bad, doesn't taste terrible. Absolutely. But I mean, it tastes like chicken, it's the same thing with tuna fish. You can eat it right out of the can. It's fine. It's not, maybe it's not to your taste, but it's fine.
And really everything, if you have salt and garlic powder or something.
Yeah, you're good.
It'll be all right. You'd be all right.
Put a little hot sauce on it. That should be on the list. I don't have it on the list. Some hot sauce.
And whiskey.
Well, whiskey is one of the forever foods. That is one of the good ones.
Forever food. And I've heard it only gets better with age. And I will have to point out, you can go to a lot of the liquor stores. They'll have some kind of whiskey for like $6. But what I would say is if there's like 3 or 4 different choices, one, I just look for the ones that the old guys come in and buy. Like when I'm at the liquor store, I'm like seeing them over and they're always picking up one brand.
It's the Doors.
You're not buying that cheap though, right? Is it the Doors or is it a little cheap?
No, that's the Canadian stuff. It's not cheap anymore. It used to be
cheap. Yeah. No, I always find, I think here it's Aristocrat is the one that is the go-to. And I feel a little more sophisticated, if I drink it. But that was the thing. I bought a couple of cheap whiskeys and I poured, the wife and I each some shots. And I'm like, all right, let's go through and what's good here and what's not. And I bought, and now I bought them all, whatever. And then I was like, all right, this is the winner by far. And so I started buying every time I go to the liquor store, I'll buy an extra bottle of the cheap stuff. And then I throw it in the supply because I'm always afraid that I'm going to get old and all of a sudden I'll be poor and desolate or something. But I want to make sure there's still whiskey. Like, I don't want to be that poor. Like, because it'll be like, you don't have money for food. I'm not letting you buy whiskey. But I'll be like, we already have it.
Already stocked up.
You see, that's why you prepare. You plan for the future, Kevin. If you already have the whiskey.
Yeah. I would say, you made a point there that I think, some people missed. If you're trying to test whiskey flavors, always have a woman there testing it. They've got a better palate and they will tell you the good whiskey versus the bad whiskey every time. Trust me on this. This is a fact. This is scientifically proven.
Science.
Women can tell the best whiskey better than a man can.
Well, I find that women tell me a lot of things that they just know better than I do, and I just go with it. Because even if I think I know better, I'm wrong.
You're wrong. No.
That's been my experience.
Yeah. When it comes to women, you're just always wrong. That's how it goes, man.
Yeah. If you think you were right, you weren't.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to canned meats, we've got a good 2 to 5 year shelf life. But this is one of those things that you want to keep stored, in a dry spot. That tin will rust and it'll get nasty, disgusting. You're going to poison yourself. Make sure you store it in a nice dry spot, Keep that can out of the sunlight, keep it out of the heat, and you're good for years.
I like years. Now, you said also vegetables. Are there certain ones or just whatever, just kind of mix up the vitamins? Is that what we're going with?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you want to have the canned vegetables. You want to get the multi-pack, the variety with the canned vegetables, at least in my opinion. I don't really care for most canned vegetables. I stick with the corn, the carrots, and the green beans. Some people they do weird stuff though. There's canned asparagus and all sorts of weird canned stuff. whatever your taste is. But just to me, canned asparagus sounds nasty. I haven't even tried it yet. I'm just telling you this. I also have in my cabinet, canned peanuts, shelled peanuts. Somebody gave it to me. I have not been brave enough to try this. I guess you just eat the shell and the whole thing. I'll have to open it up and let you know at some point.
That's weird, Kevin.
Kind of gross. Anyway, not to get off track.
Right.
You want to make sure you have your canned fruits too. You know what I mean? They have like the fruit medley. I like peaches. Canned peaches are the way to go, in my opinion. Be careful though. You open up that canned peaches and you're going to want to eat all of them, so that it's just going to go bad. You got to eat all of them. You're going to be having the case of the squirts though, and you're going to be just squirting poo out all afternoon.
Yeah.
So you want to share the peaches with everybody.
Yeah, kind of ruining my plan here, because I gotta say I actually have like a number 10 can of canned peaches next door that I bought thinking I'll be able to get the ladies in the apocalypse. But now when you're telling me the outcome, if it's just the two of us and the canned peaches.
Yeah. You want to share those with everybody. Yeah.
If I share them with everybody, then can I really win over one girl, Right.
I see what you're saying.
It's tricky, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there. Another thing, and this is kind of deviating. I know I said maybe, your budget will not appreciate you going to the long-term food storage companies, but I just bought from My Patriot Supply. I did they have like freeze-dried pineapple and freeze-dried, like little pieces, whatever. They have freeze-dried strawberries and a lot of the different freeze-dried fruits, which, when you concentrate fruit, it basically becomes sweeter and you kind of get that sugar, and it's kind of like having candy in the apocalypse. I do know way back a million years ago when we did a long-term food storage episode, I had talked about how they had a brownie mix for the apocalypse. Like that was, something that was going to last forever. And then after I hyped it up and said it was so great, everybody went to go buy it. And then they didn't have it anymore. They didn't make it. And I was like, oh, sorry. I got mine. That's all I can tell you. I'm going to have the ladies because I got the brownies and the little pieces of fruit. I'm just saying, I know how to lure them in. Sometimes you have to, it's not just the beard. Sometimes you need a little extra, because when everybody stops shaving in the apocalypse, everybody's got a beard.
Ain't going to be so special.
I'm not so special anymore. But when I got my, my little fruit snacks, I'd be like, hey, baby, you like fruit? You know how it is. And that's how you win over the ladies. That's what I'm saying.
That's right. And freeze-dried fruit, is great. Again, if you store it properly, it'll last for a good little while. I like the freeze-dried strawberries, and I like the freeze-dried blueberries. Those are pretty good. One of my favorites.
Absolutely. So the next thing, I would just point out that you want to buy this stuff in bulk, right? So that's where something like Sam's Club or something like that, Costco, even Amazon, there's a company, Azure Standard, that I like. Now, Azure Standard, it's like Azure, but they basically do deliveries, and basically somebody will sign up and you'll kind of be listed as the person in the area. And then like everybody looks, oh, is there anybody near me? And then they'll get like a pallet delivered from a truck. And then everybody kind of goes over to that person's house who coordinated it. And, like you all put in your order and you go pick up at that set location. Usually the new person in an area, if you want to make it closer, obviously you can go to the nearest one to you. But you could be the new person and everybody come to you and get the bulk items. And that way you save a whole lot on shipping, that kind of stuff. That's when you're buying like the 25-pound bags of like curing salt or things like that, are harder to get like locally in bulk and that kind of stuff. So think about that. Think about ways to store it safely. You know, like Kevin was talking about earlier, that makes a big difference in like being able to secure it. Another thing you want to think about is think about individual recipes. Like, what do you guys like to eat? Right? Like everybody likes tacos, right? Kevin, isn't that a general rule?
That's a general rule, yeah.
You know, we mentioned cornmeal, canned meat, rice. We're already like pretty close to putting together a taco of some sort here.
Mm-hmm.
And even black beans, right? We can even mix it up so it's like refried beans, right? We're you know, we're putting together
all
a real
the fixing
I'm noticing a
burrito
taco
right there,
meal.
man.
Right. There's a burrito meal happening. So that's the kind of thing you want to look for, though, is what is your family like, right? Maybe it's pancake mix. And that's where we're going to store, and we're going to make sure we have syrup and pancake mix that makes everybody happy in the morning. Maybe, right? Maybe you get some chickens and you have eggs coming in, and then it's kind of indefinite and you never run out. And that's, hey, you do you, right? And you can make chicken out of the chickens. And then you put it in the tacos. Right?
Yeah, it turns out chickens are actually made out of chicken. Who knew? Who would have guessed that?
The thing that gives you eggs can give you chicken. So I'm just saying, you got to keep your options open. I also, you know, Kevin's heard me talk about rabbits a few times. Rabbits can also be put in tacos. I'm just saying, there's a lot of things you can put in tacos, and then
that's really the beauty of tacos, isn't it? Like you can make it out of whatever you want. You know, they got fish tacos, they got rabbit tacos, they got beef tacos. Right. Any kind of taco you want, man.
Exactly. And if you're into like, you can buy bulk spices, like tons of garlic powder or whatever. Again, put it in something that you can save and store it for a long time. What I do is I actually plant my garlic, and then it grows back every year. And then I replant it, and I keep going through that cycle. And I always have tons of garlic. I don't need to buy it. We actually use a dehydrator and make our own garlic powder, which I have to point out is like 10 times stronger than what you're buying at the store.
Yeah.
When you eat it, you're like, whoa. And like you need a little, not a lot.
Right. But just a pinch, huh? Now, just a tip of the pros. Don't go to the baking section for your seasoning. You want to go to the ethnic food aisle where they got the Mexican food. They got the big bulk containers of any kind of seasoning you want, garlic, salt, anything like that. You want to go to the Hispanic section in the grocery store because you get a lot cheaper.
And also, you might want to check out the Hispanic food stores in your area if you have them. They're great for buying the bulk flour, the bulk cornmeal, the bulk stuff. They'll have that stuff. And honestly, usually the prices are pretty great. So you have to be friendly and kind. Maybe you get those fancy earbuds that they have on the TikTok shop or whatever. Have you seen them that translate the language? Have you seen the ads?
No, I did not. I did not know anything about that.
You can spend $10 and they have ones that you translate, you know, if somebody's talking in Spanish to you. That way, you know, if they're like talking bad about you behind your back. Or you could like learn another language, but that sounds hard. That
sounds like a lot of work, dude.
I took Spanish in school and I was like, nobody's ever going to speak Spanish. That would be ridiculous. Yeah. But that was like a million years ago and the world changed. I don't know what.
Now you can press 2 and hear it anytime you want.
There you go. So anyway, questions, concerns, you know, some long-term food storage, put it in the comments. That would be, something that would be awesome. I would say if you have show ideas, things you want to tell us about, email us at preppingbadass@gmail.com. Otherwise, don't forget you can get badass gear, something that maybe says don't give them a fucking inch on your coffee mug or your fun t-shirt. You can get those. Talk shit, get hit. Kevin's got a mug. You're in. You can get those at survivalandbasicbadass.com and then click like shop or gear or whatever it is we put up there. And you can check out some of our cool stuff. You might appreciate it. Also, I'm going to be at Prepper Camp coming up. I think it's September 26th. You guys might want to check that out. You can check me out there. Kevin can't be bothered. He's too cool. Something about having a job or I don't know what he does. It's ridiculous. But Anyway, whatever, you do you. But yeah, I'd say with that, stay safe, and we will talk to you guys next week.